Laura Gonçalves and Alexandra Ramirez, thank you very much for being here with us today. We have your film Percebes in competition. So, could we begin maybe by defining what Percebes is, the film? Not the animal, of course, which we just.
Yes.
So,
Who starts, Laura? You first?
no, you can start. Go.
Okay. So, percebes, it's a special animal that is really present on Atlantic coast. So it's common to find it in Portugal and in Spain as well. But we wanted to make a portrait from the south of Portugal, a region that has a special connection to this animal. It's a seafood, it's a mollusco, and it's really hard to harvest. And there is a really beautiful relationship between the people that live in that area of Algarve and the animal itself. And we use the animal to portray that people, those people. It's a portrait of the people and the animals in Algarve and the sea, of course, in the southern Algarve, southern Portugal. Sorry. Yeah.
Just to add to that, the animal actually is the narrator of our. It's the guide of our story. So we follow the journey of this animal from the moment that it's picked from the rock where it grows, and we follow the path while we are listening to the voices of the people of Algarve, and they talk about the relationship with this animal, with the sea, and with
And
the
with the
tourism,
city. Yes,
and with
in
the
the
city.
city.
With the
So it
city, which is, sorry, which city? Because I couldn't get which one it is. Faro? No.
actually no, we don't want to make a specific city, but it's more based in Portimão, where I grew up. Yes, but it's more than Portimão. It's not just Portimão, but it's our main reference, we must say. Yeah.
Okay, and it has to be said that this is an animation, which we haven't mentioned yet. So, is it, and it's also a documentary in a way, I guess. So, how did you approach this? I imagine that you recorded all these audios with the people, and then you created the animation from these audios?
Actually, because we say that it's from Portimão for you, because we wanted to actually interview people that Alexandra, she grew up there and she already knew some people. There was some certain things that we already knew that the people were going to say, and we wanted to focus on this thematic. And the reason why we did the documentary is because we already knew that these people could actually express what we were feeling as a duo, and the documentary actually brings that to the film. That we recorded the people, we asked some questions, we just had the recorder, the recorder, we drew the people, we drew the locations where we were, the places where they were working. This was very important for us. And the film is about this this feeling that the people have, that we got to record, and we got to be able to express that duality that people feel about this the thematic of the film, that I'm not going to spoil. I think that it's interesting to go and watch the film. But it's a very wide, universal thematic, but with a very intimate conversations with people and a very personal point of view, several points of view, which is interesting as well. It's important that we wanted to talk about tourism, but we're not against tourism or in favor. We wanted
We
to
need to think
contribute.
about it. Yeah, we just need to think about how the
To rethink,
tourism
yes.
has growing in these last decades, and how strong is the impact on the communities and the landscape. So
Yeah.
it's just a way to put everything on top of the table: the economical side, the sociological side, the environmental side, and let's try to rethink about it. So and
The
these
animation,
voices. the voices that we recorded are the best people to talk about it, because in Algarve it's the first place that the tourism starts to grow in a really fast way. First, it's from the 70s. Lisbon and Porto, they are suffering the same issues with regarding the housing, rentings, and all of that. But later, so Algarve is the place that has this issue for a longer time. So it makes sense, and once that we have some familiarity with that region, to make these portraits there. Yes.
And maybe we can talk about the kind of people that appear in the film, because we have the harvesters, but we have people that work in that chain that you described, people that work in the restaurants, in different kinds of professions within tourism. So it's quite a diverse portrayal, I could say.
Yes, because those jobs are jobs that are connected to tourism somehow. Actually, the harvesters, not so much, because the percebes, it's not so eaten by the tourists. People also like it, but it's not so common. But the rest, we try to look for the people that has jobs that represent Algarve, or make a kind of a stereotype of the idea that we have from Algarve. Of course, there is another types of jobs, but I think the people that work in restaurants, the people that work on a beach, or as a lifeguard, or as a seller that sell food on the beach, are people that can understand how heavy tourism is, or how strong is the impact on tourism on their daily lives. So somehow it's important for us to try to understand their speeches, because they definitely can have the two sides, the nice stuff that tourism can bring, and the which are the hardest consequences of to don't think so much how the tourism can grow. So we try to choose people that could represent it, in a way, the problems that we have in other cities, the tourism, the how can I say, the strong presence of tourism. Yeah.
Let's talk about the animation. It is 2D, but maybe we can try to describe it more, like how you created it, if you drew it, if it's hand drew, or how you made it.
The animation is frame by frame, 2D. Yes, it's traditional. It was made in computer, and then we wanted to use watercolor, and the presence of water was important for us in the technique, to have also present that idea of sea and the water, and this is what makes people actually connect to their roots there. When everything is taken, they still have the sea, and this is an idea that we really wanted to have in the film. So the watercolor, the use of the technique being watercolor, was something that made sense for us. But it was painted frame by frame, so we have a lot of drawings and paintings.
Yes, but we have two ways of painting the frame by frame. In the shots that the characters are smaller, we use the digital watercolor, because otherwise, if we use the proper pencil in an analogical way, it would move, because it's a really uncontrolled technique. So when we have bigger shots, bigger like close-ups, we use paper and real watercolor. When the characters are smaller, we use a digital way in order to control a bit more. So it's really important to have the connection between the technique and the theme. So as Laura says, the watercolor, it's obvious. And in the backgrounds, we also use some salt. And the salt is really nice because it creates a lot of nice textures, but it's also connected to the sea itself. It's not a river, it's the sea. So it's one of our guidelines to reach this technique. Yeah.
And I guess you had several animators in the project. It was not just the two of you. So how did you, how did you work with them?
Well, we actually took the animators to Algarve to see the places that we wanted to portray. We have several places that are important in the film, and we brought them there to see, to understand the pace, the rhythm of the waves as well from that specific place where we recorded the fishermen getting the percebes. And we had animators living and understanding the place we wanted to portray, because it was going to make it easier for us to communicate. They would live it, so that was different, like to taste the percebes there in that place, to draw it. And also we had like a person, Leo, to just do the sea. We had a person just to make the people, Inês, and then we had like more, like we have a surfer also in the animator, so they could understand a lot about this relationship with the sea. And it is funny, we actually have a video of them talking about their connection with the percebes, and we never actually thought about it, but it's beautiful. Like one of them is from one of the islands in Açores, and it's funny how they all kind of connect with this thematic. When we have a very special relationship with our animators, because we have a small studio, and usually we work on each other's films, and they know us very well and we know them very well. And when we talked about making this film, they were really happy about the subject. It's something that they really understand. So all of this was an extra, like the visit and getting to know a little bit more of this little piece of Portugal where Alexandra comes from. So it was a very special project for everyone, actually. So yeah, it's important for us that the animators have a connection with the documentary we're making.
Yeah, and also they got the connection to the place because they visit the place as well. But the reference are kind of the same, and we share reference from animation in general with them kind of regularly. So it makes the things way easier to communicate and to try to share the movement that we have in our minds. So it was a kind of a fluid workflow. So it's nice to work with them and to have this amazing help. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure. And we hope that Percebes played well in Aguilar. Bye.
We hope you like it. Bye.
Yes. Bye bye. Thank you, Vitor. Thank you.
Okay.